Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This is going to be fun. So, usually the shows that you watch on this channel are pretty well produced and planned out in advance, where we know at least a week to 2, 3, 4, and sometimes even months in advance. And sometimes we just have ideas that have been like baking for years that we finally get around to. On the opposite end of the spectrum, sometimes we have shows that are complete impulse shows that don't happen until the day that the object arrives or the idea comes to fruition or the opportunity presents itself. What am I talking about? So the other day, I was at Walgreens and I came upon this miniature radio, which we will look at in great detail. Was not planning on doing a show about a miniature radio, and just hit me right. The mood was like, you know what? Yeah, this is cool. It's going to be basic. It's going to be cheap. It was $5 at Walgreens. And I thought to myself, let's just do a show. And this is a very, very basic radio. So why don't we do this as a basic radio and then do a part 2 tomorrow of a radio that has a lot of features, whereas this is very basic. So today will be the very basic tiny novelty radio. And tomorrow will be a very fully featured, cool, amazing radio that I guarantee you've never seen anything like it. Very, very cool item. So 2 shows on radio. Now, why am I still talking about radio in 2023, almost 2024? After all, you can get music on demand. There's free ways to listen to audio. There's something about radio that still captures my imagination. Over-the-air, old-fashioned broadcast radio. Why is that? So remember back to when we were kids. Okay, and again, I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s, so there's no internet, there's no devices, like phone devices, I should say, no mobile phones, and computers are for school and work. They're, computer games is, you know what I mean? Like, you're not looking to those types of things for fun and listening to music primarily. And, if you're a kid, the TV is the family TV, so you can't guarantee that you can use it whenever you want. If there's a stereo system, it's the family stereo system, or your mom's, your dad's, your big brother, big sister, whatever. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that you don't have full control over. But if you have a portable device, like your own portable radio, for example, you can control it. As a kid, I remember, I'll never forget the excitement of having my first little Walkman and thinking, wow, I can listen to music whenever I want. I can listen to the radio whenever I want. And I also remember thinking to myself, back then the airways seemed so crowded in a good way with so much content. And I remember thinking to myself that I have this device that I control, that belongs to me, and I can listen to all of this amazing free content 24 hours a day. And that was exciting to me, and I'll never forget that enthusiasm. And that's why to this day I still like the idea of a device that you can own for a cheap price especially, and I can turn it on and listen to free content as long as the device lives, which I don't know how long that'll be, but it's still fun and intriguing. So let's open it up, review it, see how it works, test it out, and even tear it apart. You're not going to want to miss this. Yeah, this was a 100% complete impulse buy. Did not plan on purchasing a radio when I walked in there. So apparently this Modern Expressions brand is a new store brand of Walgreens. Everybody's got a store brand now. If you look online or even in the store, they've got candles, they've got massagers, they've got all kinds of stuff, all kinds of knickknacks and doodads. But this section that I noticed in the store that I was at had like this novelty area of little, like $5 and under stocking stuffer type of gifts, which is what I'm assuming this is intended for. They had like this radios, they had little miniature, pool tables and stuff. They had a pet treat launcher, little miniature tape measures, things like that. And I saw this radio, I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's not my first miniature novelty radio, but it might be kind of fun to look at. So, yeah, there we go. Mini retro radio. I love this. Hold on, I got to zoom in on this for you guys. Hi-fi sound. What do you guys think about that? Look at that speaker. That thing is going to be thumping in a minute. Hi-fi sound. Ages 8 and over. And printed with soy ink, the packaging. It's a scan radio, so there's not going to be a tuning dial. It's got an extendable antenna. You have to provide the batteries. It's not rechargeable or anything like that. And to top it off, it comes in one of these blister packs that you can cut your hand open very easily. I would recommend using scissors to open this. It's the safest way. Just cut straight across. However, I'm going to use a knife, which is not what I would recommend doing because this is how you could end up cutting yourself. But I've never done what I'm supposed to do in life, so why start now? Okay. And this is, I hate, that's when it came apart easy. Sometimes these things will just be like nearly impossible to open. You'll cut yourself on the plastic. Westminster Incorporated, made in China, FCC stuff. Not the most fascinating piece of reading that I've ever come across. But here it is. It literally sits in the palm of your hand. It is retro. What isn't retro now? Retro used to be the exception, and now it's the rule. Everything is retro. Our record players, our stereos, our radios. At what point is it no longer retro? There's probably more retro things now than there used to be back in the old days. So at what point is it contemporary instead of retro? We've got this brown plastic, which is somewhat reminiscent of Bakelite, I suppose, although this handle and trim piece is a little bit more Bakelite-ish colored. It's got 4 little feet on the bottom, Walgreens, CNNB. I'm not sure what those numbers mean. We have to have a screwdriver to get out the battery, open the battery compartment. The little handle is for show only. The thing is a novelty. You would feel silly walking into work, even if you were going to be like, well, I'll listen to this at work or whatever. Wouldn't you feel kind of silly like, hey guys, how was your weekend? Mine was good. What's that, Tom? Oh, that's just my new radio. Anyway, that's just my, look at the aerial. Even the aerial's miniaturized. I thought the antenna would come out like 1.5 feet. No, it's probably a 5 or 6 inch. Each one of these segments is about an inch, so 4 or 5 inch aerial on there. Doesn't articulate, but it doesn't need to. In fact, this antenna probably doesn't even need to do anything. If we look a little bit closer there, we can see the speaker grill. Mini auto scan radio. It's got 2 buttons and 1 LED. On the side, we've got our volume and OFT. OFT, or maybe off. Volume and off. Okay. It just rubbed off a little bit. And, it's actually got a nice snap. It's got some drag, but it's just like the plastic is being squeezed together. It's not like designed to have any sort of drag mechanism. We've got this sort of vanilla colored offset piece there. It doesn't look bad. It's cool. Sometimes people will do retro, quote unquote retro, and I feel like they don't know what that word means. And I don't, like, where are they coming from? It looks like somebody created a radio design from a vague memory of what retro means. Like, draw me a retro radio. Okay, it's kind of curved at the top, and maybe it has like kind of this yellowish inset piece, and it probably has a handle, even though desktop radios don't really have handles. So it's kind of like a portable radio and a desktop radio all at once, and you have to have an antenna. Well, we don't need an antenna. I just put one on there for show, and maybe some knobs. Well, we don't want to spend the money for real knobs. Okay, well, there'll be buttons that look like knobs. And then to top it off, we'll put a green LED. Nothing says retro like a green LED. Okay, I'm being critical, perhaps a bit nasty, but I'm just having fun. I just want to get my full $5 out of this thing. So let me go ahead and open this up, and I'm assuming 2 AA's. Let's find out. So how are you guys doing with your Christmas movies in terms of getting through them? I am a little behind the 8 ball. We did a show a couple days ago on my wife's channel, link down below. My top 10 Christmas movies and TV shows and stuff. And but actually watching them, it's 2 AA's. I am definitely behind, which stinks. So I'm trying to kind of have them playing in the background while I'm working on other things. We're going to steal 2 AA's from my Zoom recorder. Probably not going to need this device to be powered up and operational for too long. Not that it's necessarily bad. We haven't even turned it on yet, but mostly I just want to share it with you guys. But, like 9 or 10-year-old me would be pretty excited for even this novelty type thing. I'm not going to screw that in yet because I don't really need to. It seems to snap into place. But anyway, yeah, the Christmas, I got to get through more. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball, so definitely we'll do that. So a scan radio doesn't have the ability, there's no like tuning dial or ability to like tune to a specific station. It literally automatically scans from station to station to station and locks on with an integrated digital tuner to a strong signal. So that strong signal may be a carrier signal. Oops, almost dropped it. Maybe a carrier signal of noise. It may be an actual broadcast. And even though the thing said hi-fi, definitely not going to be hi-fi, but hopefully clear enough to listen to and not complete garbage. Hopefully it sounds good. It actually has decent weight now that the batteries are in there. And that was the way things always used to be when we were kids too, huh? You didn't really know. You couldn't really judge the weight and quality until you got the batteries in there. It feels like it should. It doesn't feel so light and cheap. But yeah, we'll just keep hitting scan. And as we go through the dial, and it will skip over all of the noise, hopefully, and lock on to stations one at a time. There's no presets. There's no going back. I think it may allow you to go back to the last station tuned in. And then there's a reset button, which brings it back down to the bottom. It's FM only. There's no AM. So this will start at like 87 megahertz, something like that, and then scan up through until you can't scan anymore. And then you hit reset, and it takes you back down to the bottom. So I'm going to flip on the front microphone, and we are going to listen to this.
Here we go. Okay. We're going to hit reset. And then scan.
See God as your true treasure and use money as a tool to accomplish His purposes.
As you can tell, not all of the stations are going to come in, good and listenable, and you're still reliant on the reception. So, like I said before, radio reception isn't great at my house, but, we should be able to get a few things clearly. Hopefully.
Fraudulently, let's say, to make charges that you have not.
Helps if I put my hand on it so you can actually pick stations up. I think I'm becoming the antenna.
Says he hasn't focused on his relationship status. He's probably about a single.
You'll notice that sometimes it'll tune into a station and then I'll scan again and it'll tune into the same station. I feel like it's picking up the beginning of the low end of the broadcast, like in terms of the frequency, and then it's picking up a little bit further on, maybe a stronger signal the second time.
Technology for the next 50 years, not the last 50. Well, now they're in.
155.com and look for 10155 on Twitter X at 10155. Tampa Bay's only R&B.
Out of something called boniato, which is also another root vegetable. It's similar to sweet potato, and it was so salty it gave me like the immediate salt willies. You know what I mean? Like my eyes puckered, and I was like, "Whoa, this." When we move,
Oh, we had to have some Mariah Carey in here. Okay, that's not half bad. Okay, I promised a teardown, so I'm not going to disappoint. So 2 screws up here. This one is unscrewed, but it's not physically coming out. I think it'll still open. And then there was 2 there behind the battery compartment. So yeah, okay, 3 pieces. And let's see what we got here. So there's our speaker and our switches. The switches are just a passive piece of plastic there. Let me zoom in. Pass through button. There's a speaker with a W on it. What does the W mean? Is that a brand? Or is it an M? Very interesting. The circuit board back here. Circuit board is very, very basic. We've got a potentiometer there, so like a variable resistor. We've got the LED. There's the 2 buttons, the reset and the scan button. You can physically push them as well. And that circuit board appears to be everything. I mean, you've got the battery compartment underneath that. So let's go ahead and take the circuit board off and look at the bottom side of that. Okay, so there's 3 screws I removed. You know, for what it is, this seems like it's actually constructed pretty dang well. And there is the bottom side. We did have a capacitor on the other side. If I zoom in here, you will see a couple of chips. One of those is going to be the tuner. And it's such a simple, I mean, there's literally 4 components on this entire board. And the rest of it's traces. You've got 2 chips. Oh, you got some resistors down there. Okay, so there's more than 4, but you know what I mean? You've got the potentiometer. Flipping around here, you've got a couple of buttons, an LED, and 1 capacitor. But you know what? It's not like a hokey, haha, we got you, you sucker, you fell for it kind of a device. It does what it's supposed to do. It's not bad quality. It's just a limited, feature set product in a very miniature novelty form. It's not going to be the most convenient radio because if you like a certain station, you can't save it. You have to scan for the stations, and it is what it is. If you're just, a kid like me back in the day that wants to scan through, this is perfect. You don't even have to, attempt to tune. You can just hit a button until you find something to listen to and to break the boredom up, to break the silence up. And for that, I think it's really cool. So it may be a good stocking stuffer for, a child over the age of 8. Apparently you can't be 7 and have one of these, but 8 is okay. Or above, according to the package. Or even a teenager. In terms of an adult using this, purely novelty, I don't think you would, spend, maybe $10 and get 1 step up of a radio, and you'll probably get maybe even AM, FM, maybe even a headphone jack, things like that. Unless you're just particularly enamored with this. It is a cool little thing. It's fun. Definitely, I feel like it's $5 worth. It's not so cheap that you can't use it. It's functional. The sound quality was decent for what it was. It was loud enough for me sitting here with some hearing loss in this smaller sized room. So there you go. The Walgreens $5 radio. Not half bad. All right, my friends, and that's going to do it. I told you it was a basic radio, but it's very cool, very fun, as you could tell. $5, you know what I mean? $5 for a little novelty item. Obviously, it's a novelty item, but it's a fun, functional novelty item that fits in the palm of your hand. In fact, I may make the thumbnail the palm of my hand holding this just to give it some scale. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you are intrigued and you got you thinking about radio again, maybe for the first time in a while, I want you to stay tuned for the show tomorrow because I've got a very cool radio that it's just, I didn't even want to do another radio review, but a few weeks ago, this company and I were touching base, and they said, we got this new radio that does things that you probably haven't seen before in a different way. So I'm like, okay, let's take a look at it. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, we should review this. I feel like the audience would really, be interested in this. So from the most basic to a bit more complex and a bit more intriguing, you're not going to want to miss that. But my friends, that's going to do it for today. Again, if you are interested in our exclusive Starry Night 45 adapter, those are flying off the proverbial shelf. We've had some orders. Thank you for the people that have ordered. If you want to get your order in, only a couple more days. They're only available until the 20th. So December 20th comes and goes, and these will be a thing erased from existence, at least not available for sale anymore. I want to say to you, I really appreciate you being there. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas season or whatever you celebrate. And I appreciate the time that you spend to be with us And again, if you want that Christmas vlog content, there's a lot of cool stuff happening over there, including, I heard there may be a giveaway of some sort coming your way in the near future. I believe there's already been at least one and probably another one to come. So you're going to want to stay tuned to Rain's Place, the other channel, in order to find out about that. I'll put a link down below. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.